Okay, so we're ready to talk about our Cold Jelly Ninjas Dynasty draft, and today I'm joined by my boy Mike Tap, co-host of All Time High. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, Az? How you been, man? Idiot Ezra, my guy.
Well, this is the Idiot Ezra podcast. You don't call me idiot. All right, so unless you're one of one of the people out there on the internet, but you my boy. We've known each other, I don't know, 20 years now.
So then I would definitely call you an idiot then.
No, you know I'm an idiot. You don't call me an idiot. I've plenty of fucks ups in my life. But
nah, you're right. My bad.
But that's not the point, okay? I want to first talk about, before we get into our draft, is why don't you tell us what All Time High is about and why people should, check out the show.
All right. So basically, what we do is it's three of us that get together. You know the people that it is. It's me, my boy Roddy, and my other boy Joel. We get together and we talk about different topics. So each topic is about the top 5 in that category. For example, we want to discuss your top 5 favorite rappers. So all 3 of us discuss the top 5 favorite rappers.
Your favorite rapper, correct, right?
It can be your favorite, but depending on what the topic is. Let's say it's your favorite rapper, or it could be the top 5 in order best rappers.
Okay, but you cover entertainment. It could be sports. It could be something random. It can be music. It can be
Exactly.
movies. It can be whatever. That's what All Time High. That's the premise of it. You're talking about your personal top 5, or if you have a more competitive discussion, all time top 5 debate. Like your top 5 basketball players of all time. Everybody's talking about that because of the Last Dance, Michael Jordan's documentary that just came out. So, these arguments are sparking up at all-time highs right now when it comes to NBA all-time greats and everything.
Exactly. So, also, to piggyback on that note, we do that definitely. And our next episode is something to listen to because we're going to be talking about top 5 Netflix. And we all know quarantine life is time. It's Netflix time. So we need to listen to that. I'm going to put that out there for everybody here.
Okay. All right. So on Spotify and Apple, All Time High, so you check out your top 5 debates. That's where you get it at. And obviously, I know the 3 gentlemen. Joel Rodriguez has actually done a few podcasts with me here on Idiot Ezra. So if you listen to the podcast, you know Joel Rodriguez, and he's one of the co-hosts over there at All Time High. And my boy Roddy, he needs to Broken Arrow, because I think the last episode you talked about your top 5 villains, John Travolta and Broken Arrow. He's in this Dynasty League. He's Rod Barr, as you see on the screen. Broken Arrow though, bro? Top 5 villain? I was debating that big time.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
But you know what's not top 5? Your team in this draft. So, but we'll get into that. I'm going to start off by letting people know my team in this draft. If I could pull it up over here. I know the first pick I was awarded the number 1 overall pick here.
Can we talk about how you was awarded that?
You mean how? I didn't. I pressed randomized and it picked me.
Let the listeners know.
I didn't cheat for it. I don't even like the first pick. To be honest, when it comes to a snake draft, I don't like the first overall pick.
I completely agree. Because you don't get a pick for another 20-something picks.
20-something picks, and this is a Dynasty League. And if you don't know what the Dynasty League is, it's you draft your whole team and you keep all your players. Okay, the only time you're getting new players is through a rookie draft, or you're releasing players, or you're picking them up through free agency, which in our league is a bidding system. So that's what a Dynasty League is. You're building for the long term, essentially. It's up to you. You can build for short term or long term, but the point is you're keeping majority of your team. And a lot of Dynasty Leagues have very unique rules, and our league has some unique rules. So like, in your league, you know how you have the toilet bowl, or we call the NIT championship. In our league, if you make it to the NIT because you didn't make it to the playoffs, you battle for the first overall pick. And I was explaining to Mike off camera, when we were doing this draft, I think the number one pick in a rookie draft, it's not think, it's obvious. The number one pick in a rookie draft is a lot more valuable than the number one pick in a veteran draft. So this draft we're going to talk about only involves veterans because this is our first ever draft in our new Dynasty League.
Unless you get Christian McCaffrey, then it's like he's pretty much a rookie. He's 23,
well, if you're lucky like that, if you with a young person like that, yeah. But I'm just talking about if you get the number one pick in a rookie draft compared to the 12 draft, it's a lot more valuable than a veteran draft, which we did. We don't have any rookies in this draft. We're gonna have a separate rookie draft coming up after the real life rookie draft because we want to draft our players based on what teams they get selected to. So Mike had the 11th pick, so in the rookie draft, he'll have the second overall pick. And since I had the number one pick, I'll have the last pick in upcoming rookie draft. And let's get to my team. At quarterback, I got Matt Ryan. At running back, who I picked, number one overall, Christian McCaffrey. And then the sixth pick in the first round, our boy Greg hit me up with a trade offer. He offered me the sixth pick for my 212 and 3-1. Yeah, he sent me the offer. I didn't trade up. So he sent me sent me 1.6 for 212 and 3.1, which I accepted, and he sent me his 8.6. I took Dalvin Cook, who was a top 5 running back last year. And then wide receivers, I got AJ Brown, Jarvis Landry. Tight end, I have Hayden Hurst. I have Chris Carson as my flex. Kicker, Zane Gonzalez. Rams defense. And my bench is Brandon Cooks, Kareem Hunt, Mike Williams, Mecole Hardman, Alexander Madison, and Jameis Winston. That's my full roster besides the rookies. What about you, Mike?
All right, so my team, starting quarterback, Carson Wentz. Mind you, I think he's going to have an MVP season this year. My number one running back taken off the board, Devin Singletary. No surprise there. I'm a Bills fan. James Conner, my second running back. My number one pick in the 11th pick in the first round, Godwin. I'm sorry. There's only one O in there. Chris Godwin. Tyreek Hill, my second pick. My tight end, T.J. Hockenson from the Detroit Lions. And I got Terry McLaurin. Well, who knows what that Redskins offense is going to be like. And I also have on my bench Darius Geis. Also, who knows what that Redskins offense is going to be like. Christian Kirk could be a solid guy in Arizona. N'Keal Harry, who knows who's throwing the ball to him, but I feel like he has.
Why it sounds like you're shitting on your own team? You have a lot. You drafted a lot of question marks. What's wrong with you? You don't sound real confident in your team right now.
Now you know what it is because this app says undefined. Now I'm playing. But Rashad Penny, solid. Paris Campbell, Ohio State University. He's going to be good. And Adrian Peterson, I had to handcuff Darius Geis. You know how it is. So
I feel you. I hear you, bro. So those are our teams. We're not going to go through all the teams that were drafted. It was just me and Mike so we wanted to let you know our teams. And I think we're going to go with an all-time high concept in this podcast. I think we're going to start off with, our top 3 valued picks in this Dynasty League draft here. And hopefully you can use this model in a sense for your upcoming maybe redraft or Dynasty draft. And I love Dynasty League, so I may push that a little bit forward as if you have big-time fantasy football, head like we are. But we're going to go with the all-time high concept here, our top 3 value picks. And we're going to start off with our number 3. And I'm going to go first. And you're going to hear this name a lot because I'm surprised. My boy Greg, got him. His pick of Lamar Jackson at 212 is my number 3 valued pick in this draft. Why am I going with a high such pick? Lamar Jackson, we know he won the MVP last year. He was the second quarterback drafted in our league, and he's also an extension. I don't mean this in nowhere near disrespect. It just speaks to his. You're basically drafting two players. He's a running back who's a really good quarterback. In a sense, and I'm talking about fantasy sense. In real life, to me, he's the most dynamic, exciting player to watch in NFL. Okay. I won't put him the best quarterback in the league. I think that's still Russell Wilson. I think a lot of people will say Patrick Mahomes, but I'm just saying I love Lamar Jackson. So I think you get two players in one, and I was actually debating in my head before we did this draft. I was like, I would think about taking Lamar Jackson in the first round, and I never do that. And when it comes to my fantasy, philosophy, quarterback is a deep position, and I think you can really wait for a quarterback like I did until the 8th round, but I really debated Lamar Jackson really is worth a first round pick because to me, you're getting two players in one. He had 1,200 yards last year, I believe 9 touchdowns, just rushing the ball. And to get him at the last pick of the second round, I thought was great value. So great job by Greg. Who's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley in the third round on a snake. So he was taken the third round, the 7th pick in the third.
So yeah, 3.7. Yep, Todd Gurley.
And honestly, he's one of those guys, and he's still in a dynasty league. He's 25 years old. So and he's in Atlanta in a high-powered offense. Number one, number two. I don't think many people know they cut Devontae Freeman. So you're looking. Let's say, for example, we're looking at our draft, correct?
Mm-hmm.
He's taken in the third round. Austin Eckler's taken before him. Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people above Todd Gurley.
I'm gonna push back a little bit, but I like the pick in the sense that he is the 16th running back drafted in our league.
Yes.
And remember, Dynasty League, if you go towards younger running backs or younger players, I'm not gonna fault you too much because, like I said, you're building for the immediate and the future, and you want these guys to stay with you for a long time. But the 16th pick, and for a Falcons team, with Devontae Freeman, who really didn't have a good year last year at all, that's why they released him. He was decent with catching the ball as a PPR running back. Mm-hmm. But Todd Gurley's going to get. My point is, the Falcons give their running backs touches, and Todd Gurley's going to get a lot of touches with Atlanta, so he could still put in, a lot of good numbers, maybe near his type of. I won't say MVP numbers, but he can get 10 plus touchdowns because he can get a lot of touches with throwing, as a dual threat, and he's always been a dual threat. Maybe he's not the same player as he was because of his knee injury, and I know that's the question mark, and that's why he fell to 16, because he got released by the Rams. But at this point, at the 16 running back, and you know how valuable is a running back in a fantasy league, I really, it's to me it's a steal and is really worth the risk here.
Yes, he stole. And it's crazy that I got him at number 3, but that was a literal steal. And it's crazy that he took the running back before he took Gurley. He took Miles Sanders before Gurley, and I feel like that's even crazier.
Well, Miles Sanders, if you look at Miles Sanders, he had I'm going to pull up his player's card right now. He's 22 years old. He was actually the 15th PPR running back last year. And, his touches.
But let me say this, though. And I get it. Like, he touches the ball a lot, and he killed it last year and all that stuff. But I'm going to say this, and you can give your stats and all that. But I don't know if many people know this. When it comes to the Eagles, for the past 4 years, there's been a different rushing leader for the Eagles.
Well, because there hasn't been a dynamic player the last 4 years. So they're still going to go with a committee. I'm just saying I don't think it's as bad that he went with Miles Sanders because, one, Karan, who drafted him, is an Eagles. He's an Eagles fan. He's an Eagles fan. but this guy has high potential. He's a big play guy, and we have a half a point PPR league here, and he's a very valuable asset, and you only expect his numbers to grow in this offense. So it doesn't bother me too much. I'm just saying I
agree. He's potential.
But
I'm talking about Gurley at 3, like the 3rd round.
What's this? Like what boggles my? He's the 16th running back taken. I would have definitely taken him over David Johnson or Kenyon Drake, and stuff like that.
I didn't even get to mention those guys. Like Gurley's definitely going over Kenyon Drake and Johnson.
Well, we'll get
not even that. Like I think. All right, go ahead.
I don't know if you're giving away because later on we're going to get into our top 3 reaches in his draft. But I understand what you're saying.
I mean,
that's what it sounds like you're going because we don't know each other's list.
I'll go ahead of myself.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like that's one of your reaches, and I feel like that's going to be one of them. But we'll find out. And number 2, I can't believe this because Greg, we always kill him in our drafts because we did a lot of. We've been in leagues together for years, and we used to kill each other for the picks that Greg's done for his redrafts. I'm actually going to give him my number 2 again with his Mark Ingram pick. And he went with Mark Ingram. He got Mark Ingram with a 6th round, 7th pick, 6.7. He's the 26th running back taken in our draft. I know this. Wow. Once again, I know, first of all, he's not a PPR guy. We know that.
No.
And this is a dynasty league. That's another fault against him. But be the 26th running back taken, and he was 11th ranked running back. He was the 11th ranked running back last year in PPR. This is, to me, and being the 26th player drafted, I think is an absolute. Even if let's say he falls back a little bit. Let's say he only ends up being the 15th best running back in terms of PPR. I think it's still a very good value here. I'm going to go with Mark Ingram because I think that offense is still going to be pretty good. It's not like we know they're a running team, but a lot of people defenses are focusing on Lamar Jackson. So that just opens. Mark Ingram has always been a very underrated running back in this league. It just opens up even more legs.
Yes.
So I think he's going to have another productive year with the Ravens, and the Ravens always, been that physical team, and Mark Ingram just
down your throat, run the ball.
It's still going to be part of that identity. So Mark Ingram, I can't believe I gave Greg 2 value picks here because this is.
I don't even know who this is.
We were writing this in the group chat. Like, is Greg really making sense in this draft? It just.
I think he gave his phone to somebody, let him pick for him real quick. And then he took over later on. I think that's what happened.
So who's your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2. So I came with Gurley. Also, we talked about this on the side. Sony Michel in the same round, right after Mark Ingram. He was. I really feel like, and Mark Ingram might not be both rushing and pass catching, but Sony Michel is though.
And Michel and the Patriots are probably going to run the ball a lot more this year. As of right now, that's what you're going to think.
Exactly. But that was my thinking at that pick. So Mark Ingram, Damian Williams, and I think it was Sony Michel right after both of them. Right.
Let me ask you a question. You were Sony Michel was drafted 6.10. You made a trade, and you ended up on 6'11". You picked up Terry McLaurin. McLaurin. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to read. McLaurin.
Yes.
Would you have taken Sony Michel if he was available?
I'm glad you asked this. 100%. I would have taken Sony Michel. Let me tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what happened. So I went to draft my pick 6'4", right? So I'm on a snake. So I get a trade offer. Listen, I want to jump up to 6'4", and you can have my 6'11", in my 7-2. I said, all right, and then I'll give him another pick. I think it was like 7. I think it was like 8 something or whatever. I said, all right, hell yeah. You know why? You know why I did that? Because I looked at everybody's team. I said, they don't need a running back. They're not going to take a running back. He's not going to want that person. He's not going to want that person. He's not going to want that person.
And you were wrong.
They're not. And I was right up until the last person. Right before me, Sony Michel was taken.
You made a mistake because Edgar only had who was the person that took Sony Michel right before you had one running back, which was Ezekiel Elliott.
No, that I'll tell you that. That's 100% right. That's 100% right. But that's not what I was basing my whole look at. Because if you look at the draft, right?
Yeah.
Greg had Aaron Jones and David Johnson. Why is he taking Mark Ingram in that round?
Well, what can I say? Running back is a very valuable. It's one of the besides tight end is probably the it's very hard to find value, even though it's much deeper than tight end, because after the top 4 is a big drop off. After you get those starting running backs, it gets a little scarce. So you gotta fight for those scraps. And Mark Ingram is a starting running back in this league. He had 10 touchdowns last year. He went with value there, which I just gave him big time, praise for.
I get it. I get that, but also
you fucked up, bro. You should have just stuck to your 6'4", and you should have just picked up Sony Michel.
Hold up. Also, Sony Michel is technically not the number 1 on the Patriots.
Anyway, we're not gonna get into all that. So that's your number 2, right? I know you hurt.
I wanted him. The pick right before me. All right, cool. Let's continue the show, man.
Okay. All right. What my number 1 value pick here, I'm going to botch this name too, because once again, I'm dyslexic and I can't read and all that good stuff. I'm illiterate, okay?
Is his name that bad? Is his name that bad?
No, it's not that bad. I just don't know how to read. It's Quran. I'm going to give Quran the number 1 value pick here for his 14.6 pick of a tight end.
Really?
Miami's Mike Gesicki. Yeah,
you got that right.
Mike Gesicki? Oh, okay. Oh, I got it right. He was
Gesicki. Yeah, you got that right.
So he was the 14.6 draft pick. He's the last tight end drafted in our league.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He was the 12th PPR tight end last year and on a horrific Miami team. I still expect them to be bad this upcoming year, but when you draft a new quarterback, especially a young quarterback, which we all expect they're going to do, they like the tight end. And you got an athletic guy who's 24 years old, a 2-year pro, who's athletic, and I think is going to be relied on. And being the last tight end, I think he got great value here for being in the 14th round, second to last round, last tight end. I'm going to go that because you got to find the diamonds in the rough, and I think this guy could be that. He could be a potential top 10, top 5 even tight end in fantasy football.
Really? Oh wow.
That's my number 1, baby. You think I was gonna give you some common shit? I hit you with the number 1, baby.
Nah, I respect it.
So who's your number 1 valued pick in our draft?
My numero uno, no thanks to Greg, is Josh Allen.
No, it wasn't Greg. It was Styles.
No, I know it was Styles, but I'm saying no thanks to Greg because he took 45 quarterbacks in his draft. But what I'm saying is, Josh Allen was the 6th best quarterback in fantasy last year. He was taken 11th this year, and he's young. He's still young. He's still learning.
Yeah, man.
He's 23.
These Bills fans be slurping off their quarterback, man. I love it.
I mean, also, yes, I am a Bills fan, but I'm not even gonna like play to that. I'm just gonna give you stats.
Listen.
6th best quarterback in the league last year in fantasy.
I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you here. I'm gonna say that
to be taken in the 8th round, and the 11th quarterback taken, that's pretty crazy.
Listen, I'm with you all the way here, and I think the Bills, they added Stephon Diggs, who I think is the perfect weapon with this offense and this quarterback, because he's got a rocket of an arm, and he was the 6th PPR quarterback in the league. He runs the ball. He had 9 touchdowns.
He's a dual threat.
I think I said this with Joel Rodriguez, one of the podcasts. I think he is like the new Cam Newton in a sense. He's just a big physical guy that can run the ball, and obviously he's solid with the arm. Josh Allen, after Lamar Jackson, and matter of fact, Josh Allen was my 3rd quarterback in mind. Lamar Jackson was my number 1. Kyle Murray, because I thought Patrick Mahomes was going to get picked way early. So don't even talk to me about Patrick Mahomes.
You don't even want to look at him. Yeah, right.
But Josh Allen, I was going to take Josh Allen in this round, but I had the last pick in the 8th round, and I picked up Matt Ryan. So I definitely was excited. He was on my queue, Josh Allen. I'm with you all the way. He was on my team last year. I really like Josh Allen. Like I said, I think he's Cam Newton light. I think he's got more weapons around him, and Singletary with a full year, I think is only going to open up even more for Josh Allen and another year of growth of throwing the ball. I'm totally with you on here.
Number 1, man. That's a huge value pick.
The reason the reason he wasn't in my 3, like I said, I thought it's my personal philosophy. Quarterbacks is a deep position. I don't think you're losing as much too many times with picking one quarterback over the other. That's just me.
But the reason why I will combat that though is because the quarterbacks taken after him was 1 starter and 4 backups.
That's not true. That's not true at all. What do you mean one?
You took a starter before him. Excuse me. You took a starter before him. Tannehill was a backup. Brady's a backup.
No. Come on. There's a couple. I'm just saying. Listen, I'm picking Josh Allen over these guys I'm about to name because, especially Dynasty League, I picked Matt Ryan after Josh Allen. Obviously, who's
no. What I'm saying? No. You took Matt Ryan before. No. You took him after. But what I'm saying is the reason what I'm saying is why I put him number 1 is because I looked at the draft, the quarterbacks taken after him.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Excuse me. Right, the quarterback taken after him. So it was a stiff quarterback to pick. Stiff quarterback picking.
You mean it was going to get thin right after Josh Allen?
After Allen. So I'm surprised he was like the last one taken if he's the 6th quarterback in fantasy last year.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. You know what? I think when people don't really look at the numbers every day when it comes to fantasy, I think Bills and the Bills offense get a stigma about it. And I think Josh Allen and I think Josh Allen still gets a stigma that, obviously he's not the 6th best quarterback. He's not the 6th best quarterback in football. Not at all.
He's not.
Not even close to it, okay?
Not even close.
Not even close. So it's just a stigma that you got to really look at the numbers if you're playing fantasy. And Josh Allen was the number 6 fantasy quarterback, and like I said, I'm with you a lot of the ways here. I'm just saying the reason why he wasn't on my board as being a valued pick is because the quarterback position, I gave you my philosophy on that. But you got some names after that. You got Matt Ryan, who I picked up, Drew Brees, Daniel Jones. Those are the guys that started. You got Tom Brady, even though I'm definitely avoiding that. And maybe, you hope maybe Big Ben, who got drafted way in the 14th round, almost.
Yeah, he was taken low.
But I'm saying it's a dynasty league, so
Gardner Minshew was taken.
It was taken before Bay. Like I said, I don't get on picking younger players in dynasty because once again, you're hoping these guys grow and they grow on your team. You have them already. That's why I picked Alexander Madison. I know he's never going to play full time for the Vikings unless Cook gets hurt. But he's a young guy, so if he gets traded, I'll have him as an asset already. So those are our top 3 values in our dynasty league. Now let's go to our top 3 reaches in our dynasty Code Jelly Ninjas dynasty league. Who's your number 3 reach?
Okay, my number 3 reach. I struggle with this because I had to go with like the rounds, but I figured I'm looking at rounds, I'm looking at where people went, and I'm just gonna go Le'Veon Bell, 4th round. Sorry, Joey. Hola, Ovito. You shouldn't have done it. Le'Veon too high, man. He didn't do enough.
So Le'Veon Bell won 4.1 and by a Jets fan, who I'm also a Jets fan if people don't know, by Joey, the first pick of the fourth round. Why do you think he was a reach?
I think he was a reach because, number one, he averaged 3.2 yards a carry. He only had 3 touchdowns. He also only had 789 yards rushing with 245 yards with 45 attempts. That's insane. Besides those stats last year, he was one of those running backs that were taking over guys that have bigger play potential than him. And I'm all about the big playability, baby. And he does for right now, he didn't show it last year. And I love Le'Veon. But if you're not gonna show me what you have with a Jets team that's giving you the ball, then don't play it like you about to be somebody that you're not.
I'm gonna push back on you on this because one, I'm a Jets fan, and two, let me ask you a question. The running backs that were drafted after Le'Veon Bell was James Conner by you, Marlon Mack, and Chris Carson. You know, also you got Mark Ingram, you got Sony Michel, David Montgomery. You know, those are some of the names I'm going to throw out there. You would have taken a lot more of those running backs than Le'Veon Bell at that point?
I definitely would have taken Marlon Mack. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to take Marlon Mack. And that's just the first name right there I'm thinking about. Phillip Rivers, what does he do? Dump the ball off to the running back. Marlon Mack, he is one of those guys that gets those stats. And he's young still.
Well, he has an injury history, but I hear what you're saying. Marlon Mack.
He definitely has an injury history, right? I'm not even going to talk about James Conner because obviously I took him.
You would have took him over. You would have took him over Le'Veon Bell also.
Yes, I would. I would have. But I'm not. We're not going to talk about why because like, you could think I'm biased, whatever. But Chris Carson, he has Russell Wilson 1, 2. He runs the ball solid enough. And he's young. He's young.
I got Chris Carson. I really like Chris Carson at the 5.1 pick. You know, I got to give myself credit.
I don't like Kerryon Johnson, so whatever. Kerryon Johnson could go.
But when it comes to back my pushback, I want to put it to you like this: Le'Veon Bell unless they draft the running back, he's still going to get majority of the touches with my Jets. And he was the 16th PPR running back last year. And you could only think it was so bad for Le'Veon Bell. He had 4 total touchdowns last year. Like you said, 3.2 per carry. I can't see that getting any worse. And he's going to get touches. Do I think he's going to be the top 5, fantasy running back that he was with the Steelers? No, because, Adam Gase and, that's a whole separate issue that's going to piss me off and I don't want to talk about right now because, it boggles my fucking mind. My Jets don't know how to fucking do anything in this fucking league for the last 50 years. But 16th PPR running back, I don't think is that bad of a reach. I'm not with you on this, but this is your list. So, like your team, it's shitty, but I'm gonna go with it.
it's like your team. You got good running backs, but what else you got? But anyway.
All right, so number 3. That's your number 3. My number 3 reach in our league. I'm probably gonna botch this name too. I'm going with Ale, 6.4, wide receiver, Ravens, Marquise Brown.
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown?
His nickname is Hollywood.
Well, Hollywood Brown was.
That's A.B. Brown's nephew.
Well, that's wonderful for him. He needs to talk to his uncle. He needs to give his uncle some advice.
He get that motherfucker right.
I know he's 22 years old. He's a big playability. He's a vertical wide receiver. He had 46 yards. 46 catches, 584 yards last year, 7 touchdowns, which is a high number of touchdowns to catch ratio. And he was a 46 PPR wide receiver. You only expect that to go up because, he's a young wide receiver. What bothers me here is this is a very deep rookie draft coming up for wide receiver. And also, Ale could have picked up Michael Gallup, who went 6.8. You could have picked up Jarvis Landry, Brandon Cooks, AJ Green. If you want to go young, you could have went with Michael Gallup. You could have went with your guy Terry from the Redskins. There could have been other names that he could have went for at this spot at the wide receiver position. He could, maybe he didn't want to go running back because he already has 3 running backs.
Let me ask you a question. My pushback. Why don't you think he will be better than those guys? Is it because of Lamar Jackson?
Not because of Lamar Jackson. It's because they are a run-first team. I think it's just the dynamic of the offense. And, Lamar Jackson, well, he is a solid passer. He's still not the echelon of the pocket passers in our league. Obviously, he can throw, he can gun it down. He's got a beautiful arm, and his running ability opens up the vertical game, and he throws it accurately. They just love running the ball. They're just not a throwing offense. And I just thought you had a throwing offense with Michael Gallup right there with the Cowboys, and who is also, I think, only 22 years old. He's 24 years old, a 2-year pro.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah. 24? Yeah, he's young.
And there's just other names there at this position that he could have taken over.
Who else you had besides, you said Gallup, or who else?
I said your boy, Terry. You had Jarvis.
For sure, he could have taken Terry, for sure.
I like Terry's the number 1 wide receiver on the Redskins. Jarvis Landry.
Who getting those taggers? Who getting those targets? Number 1. And fucking Landry as well, too, though.
Landry, you got Brandon Cooks, who were from the Texans. You still got AJ Green, even though AJ Green's a older guy. He's been injured for the last 2 years. You just had some names there.
You don't stop on that. Yeah, exactly.
You had T.Y. Hilton, but if you want to stick to, I'm only going with the comparison to Michael Gallup because I guess he wanted a young wide receiver asset, and I think he had that with Michael Gallup. So, and the Ravens still might go for wide receiver in this deep wide receiver draft. So that's just that's my number 3 reach. I don't think it's horrific. I thought overall people did all right. It was pretty hard for me to find some reaches in our league. So it's a credit to the whole league. It wasn't, not too many people did some dumb shit left and right. Okay. I thought maybe.
I would say this, like Marquise Brown is not too much of a reach because of his combine and what he produced.
Oh, of course. He's got big playability, and he has 7 touchdowns last year. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I like.
He was the fastest receiver last year. He was the fastest
receiver. Okay. Well, hey, like I said, I'm not killing it too much, but it was hard to find some reaches, and that was my number 3. So I guess we didn't like each other's number 3 here. So I like the pushback there.
I'm not feeling the Marquise, but I get it.
Well, I'm not feeling your number 3, so it's okay. So I'm gonna go with my number 2 now. My number 2 reach in our draft, I'm gonna go with Greg. He went with, because he's a Broncos fan, he went with Drew Lock with the 11.6 pick. Drew Lock, he already has Lamar Jackson on his roster, but after
that was crazy.
But after Drew Lock, Drew Brees was still available. Daniel Jones was still available. Jimmy G, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, even though you're probably not big fans of these guys. Drew Lock with the 11th.
Jared Goff.
Jared, that's if you want to stick with running.
Wait, he also took Cam Newton too, though.
I know, that's ridiculous. He took Cam Newton he has 3 quarterbacks. I don't understand having 3 quarterbacks unless one of them is a rookie. And I guess that's the only thing that defends him here. That Drew Lock could be his long-term project, that he believes he's going to blossom into this, fantasy quarterback. That's the only thing that saves him here, because in Dynasty, in our league, you have a taxi, and maybe he'll put him in a taxi in his practice squad to open up that roster. But I saw other quarterbacks there, because my thing is this: if you get a backup quarterback in fantasy, you plan to use him if someone gets hurt or a bye week. Are you
Yes.
really going to slot if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, God forbid, you're slotting in Drew Lock as your starting quarterback? No, you go with a guy like Drew Brees, who I thought was a fantastic value. He was almost on my value list. Who was
My God, that was insane. That was a crazy pick.
that was a
Tom
fantastic.
Brady too, though. I ain't even gonna lie.
But the reason why they guys went in the 11th round, Tom Brady and Drew Brees, is because it's a dynasty league and you want the younger guys. But if you want that backup, Drew Brees is a perfect backup to have in your dynasty league because that's someone you can slot in for 5-6 weeks, depending on the matchup, and you're okay if someone gets hurt. Drew Lock, nothing. And his third quarterback, who could be his, is not even on a team yet. So that's my number 2 reach is Drew Lock. And Greg was having a fantastic draft until, he pulled his Greg shit.
It's some Greg shit. Come on, Glondor.
Your number 2.
All right, my number 2. I don't mean to keep picking on Greg, but it's back on Greg. David Johnson.
Oh, you went with David Johnson. Okay.
David Johnson last year. I mean, he was on the Cardinals, and Kenyon Drake took his spot. Like, traded to the Cardinals, took his spot. David Johnson played 13 games, averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Like,
and he was taking. I want to put on the podcast. He was taking 3.6 in our dynasty draft,
right before Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Devin Singletary, Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, Marlon Mack. Like these are big play guys.
And to help you out here, what also is now it's not only stick to the running back position. You're in the 3rd round. You could still go for, because he had a quarterback and a tight end taken, so he hasn't picked a running back yet. That's the only thing that saves him here. But I like those other names. I would have picked Todd Gurley. I would have picked Devin Singletary over David Johnson here. And also, he could have went Amari Cooper. He could have went with Cortland Sutton, who I think is, I love Cortland Sutton. Could have went with him here at this spot. So
Cortland, yeah, hell yeah. Cortland Sutton or Amari Cooper. I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, on your swing around, you could have took a running back. Because think about it. You're taking Cortland Sutton, right? Or even Todd Gurley. And you're coming around, you still have a receiver there because you took a receiver in that spot.
Hey, Todd Gurley. I mean, David Johnson at this spot. So I know why he probably did it. He's
28.
He's
28.
He's 20.
He's hurt.
Well, you know what? I guess he thinks he's going to be a featured back, right? Obviously, he has to be, right? If you're trading one of your star player, and you're trading the best wide receiver in football, arguably, your franchise player for the last 5 years, and David Johnson's part of that package, is getting paid $11 million, you would think Bill O'Brien is going to, you know what? We got to make David Johnson one of the feature pieces this upcoming year. I'm guessing that was Greg's thinking with that. But guess what? I don't believe in Bill O'Brien a lot more than David Johnson producing. I think David Johnson has a better chance of producing than trusting Bill O'Brien when it comes to the running back position.
I'll give you this. I believe that David Johnson is going to do good. I don't think he's going to do.
You don't think he's going to?
I don't think he's going to do where he deserves to be.
Where he got drafted. Listen, I'm with you. I would have taken Todd Gurley. I would have definitely taken Devin Singletary ahead of him. Probably, maybe even Le'Veon Bell over David Johnson, to be honest. Maybe. So I'm with you here. I'm with you on this reach here. David Johnson, 3.6 as your second reach in our draft. So I'm going to go with number 1. My number 1 reach in our draft. And I think we're going to be in agreement here. Like I said, we haven't spoken about this, but I think we're going to be in agreement.
I already feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it a whole my soul.
You know what? I'm going to let you know. What's your number 1?
Daryl Henderson, man.
Ding, 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 ding. We have the same. Daryl Henderson
In
was
my soul and in my bones.
he was the 6.5 round fifth pick.
The sixth overall. So if you're building a team, if you're building a dynasty fantasy team, your sixth pick is still valuable.
And he went. Wow. Yeah.
He went Daryl Henderson. Everybody who knows fantasy, let that sink in. Let it.
6.5.
As you Google who that is, we will let you know. That is the backup running back to Todd Gurley when he was on the Los Angeles Rams.
Now, we know Todd Gurley sucked up all the touches over there. So Henderson's his touches will increase, maybe by, maybe 100% at least, which is not much. He only had 39 attempts rushing, but overall touches, he had 43 touches. He was the 95th PPR running back last year. So even if he grows by 200%, he's still only going to have 120 something touches.
I just want to know if Roddy literally was at Los Angeles Rams games, like at their training camp, if he knows him personally. Like, what does he know about this guy?
My thing is too. It's at this point, he drafted 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs, which was Joe Mixon and David Montgomery. So he still didn't have a tight end. He still didn't have a quarterback. And I think you could have still went. Maybe if you wanted to stay running back, he could have picked up Mark Ingram. He could have picked up Sony Michel.
Yes.
And if you wanted to go quarterback, he could have went with Josh Allen, which we was talking about our valued picks.
Yes.
If you wanted to go wide receiver, he could have picked up Michael Gallup. He could have picked up, Jarvis Landry, even though he had 3 wide receivers. So I'm not going to kill him on the wide receiver pick, but tight end, he could have went with even Ingram. He could have went with Austin Hooper.
We took a running back. He could have took Ingram. He could have took the Super Bowl, besides Mahomes, the baby MVP, could have took Damian Williams. You know what I'm saying? Sony Michel. You know what I mean? Like, he could have took these people that produce, that have a history of producing.
I'm just saying, it's just, there could have been so many, even outside this position, he could have went so many different other ways, and at need too. So I'm with you. This is the number one reach, and I think in our draft, if you come over to YouTube, you'll see the whole draft, because this is gonna be a video produced podcast. I really believe it is, and that's our number one. Roddy, you fucked up. I think
you done fucked up.
And like I said, we never discussed our top anythings before this, and we are in agreement. And I think we were all shocked in the chat, like, what? Like Henderson right now?
I seen him say Henderson. I said, wait, he probably could have got him in the 10th round.
You probably could have got him as a free agent.
You could have cut.
No, not a free agent, but you could have got him way later. You could have got him the 6th.
I'll tell you one thing. I seen the Rams. They're rebuilding, right? So they traded Cooks. They got rid of Fowler.
I don't think they're rebuilding. They just, it's a lot of cap casualties over there. So I think the Rams are still going to be good this year.
It's a small rebuild, but on top of it, you don't think they got rid of Gurley? You think that they're not going to take a running back?
And even if they stick to their running backs they have now, Henderson and Brown is going to be the tandem over there. I don't think they're going to stick to one person with the Rams. I'm with you. As your 6th pick and your fantasy team, he should not be your 6th pick at all. He shouldn't even be on your radar. So
in your fantasy dynasty 6th pick,
I think you get a little more leeway with a dynasty because he's young. That's the only thing that's the value he has there, and that Gurley's out. He's just young and Gurley's out, so his uptick in touches. So he has a chance. He has an opportunity to show, the Rams that he deserves more touches. He can be a player in this league, but he's got to prove it. And with the 6th pick, with my 6th overall roster pick, I'm not taking that chance here. I'm not taking that chance.
One thing. I'm going to put it right now on your show. I will bite a box of Honey Nut Cheerios straight from the box, like not even go inside of the Honey Nut Cheerios box. I will bite outside of the box if Darrell Henderson is that guy next year.
Okay. Well, what position rank? If he's a top 20 running back?
No. If he's even their number 1 running back.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm just saying, let's put a number on this. I want to complete this bet. If he's a top 30 running back at his position,
I'll give him top 20. I'll give him a top 20.
Top 20. Top 20. You got to eat the Cheerios box. You got to take a bite of the Cheerio box.
I will bite the whole top of the Cheerios box without even think about it.
I'm just letting you. You can bite the box. I want the Cheerios. So I want the Honey Nut Cheerios.
All right, I'll bite the top off so you can eat the Cheerios.
Yeah. Don't waste that shit. Okay. I like Honey Nut Cheerios. Delicious.
I know you like that Honey Nut.
Honey Nut Cheerios might be in my top 5 cereals if you want to talk about top 5s or top 3.
I'm gonna put that. All right, that's gonna be an all-time high. Top 5 cereals, all-time high.
I think it might be in my top 5. Cinnamon Toast Crunch might be my number 1, but I got to think about that. That's not what we're here. That's not what we're here. We're not here on Honey Nut Cheerios.
We're not here about that, but you're right. But I'm just saying, like.
You know what? Special K. No, wait. No, I just say Honey Nut. No, my number 1 is Special K fruit and yogurt. Oh my God, what a banger! Step your fucking game up. If you say Frosted Flakes, I'm sorry. Fuck out of here with that shit. I think that's top 5 overrated cereals.
Frosted Flakes.
Yo, Frosted Flakes is top 5 overrated cereals of all time. I'll tell you that.
I'll give you that 100%.
I gotta fight with people all the time. I gotta fight with people all the time about this.
Regular flakes. Regular corn flakes. I like that better.
Yeah, I like Special K, regular Special K a lot more than Frosted.
Then again, my grandmother used to call everything cornflakes when she gave me cereal. She was like, cornflake. Like, oh my God.
All right.
What am I eating? It'd be like rabbits, tricks up for kids. Like, I'm eating tricks up for kids, and she's saying it's cornflakes. I'm like, come on now.
Oh, come on. Anyway, enough with the cereal here. Let's sweeten this up a little bit more here. Let's talk about our top 3 rivals in our league.
Okay.
Who's your number 3 rival?
All right. I struggle with this. Let me ask you a question. Like we talked about before. We didn't talk about this before, so I want to talk about it now. Are we talking about just right now in the league, or are we talking about in past experiences with people in the league?
Yeah, I guess within this league, and if you have it, if you want to go outside this league, why not? You just talk about your top 3 rivals when it comes to fantasy, or maybe this league. I would like to keep to this league, but hey, if you got someone outside of it, that's okay.
No, I mean like the people in the league that I've faced in previous.
No, it's a personal thing. Like, who do you look forward to facing, or who do you really want to beat?
Boom. Number 3, Jason.
Number 3, Jason. Any particular reason why Jason?
Because he beat me in the chip that one year, and then the year after that. So he beat me in the chip one year, and then the year after that, he beat me to not make the playoffs, and I don't like that. I don't like who hates losing. Nobody. I hate it.
That's Big J in our league. That's Jason Big J, who picked Devontae Adams as his number 1 pick with the 10th pick in the first round.
And also, my brother gave me a combo the other day, told me that he beat him in the championship. I don't like that either. I'm not on no brotherly love shit, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're always on that brotherly love shit, who's also in our league, who was the 2nd pick, Team Daniel Jones. So Jason's your number 3. All right. My number 3 is actually you. My number 3 is you. Okay.
Damn, I feel a little disrespected.
What about? I think a rival is respect in some sense, but you got to give the reasons. Number 3, the number 3 reason why you're my rival when it comes to fantasy also comes with, we used to have a Madden league we used to play back in the day. You guys still play. I gave up Madden about 5 years now, easy.
Probably
But
10.
but I've been gone for a long time. We used to battle it out on Madden, and we used to have a lot of fantasy drafts there. So I'm incorporating that, and we have competitive battles here when it comes to fantasy football. And you're one of the shit talkers, or more of the vocal shit talkers in our league. So when it comes to competitive and shit talking, I put you at number 3 because you are competitive, and I consider you one of the better players in our fantasy leagues. So with the shit talking, you're my number 3.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna sun you this year. I'm gonna sun you again. I'm gonna sun you again. So it doesn't matter. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Roddy the Body.
Maybe this is purely on disrespect. He's nowhere near my top 5 because he ain't shit when it comes to fantasy.
No, he's terrible at fantasy. And I don't mean no disrespect to Jason putting him number 3. But I mean, the reason why he's my rival because I want to beat him the most out of the people that I put on my list. My number 1?
Why is he? But why? Why do you want to beat him so bad?
Okay, all right. So he ran a league. I don't know. So I want people to understand. If you run a fantasy league, I want y'all to really understand. So he ran a fantasy league. He said the fantasy league was fuck bitches get money, right? But FB,
Inappropriate.
GM, right? Fuck bitches get money. Inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. It's just a funny term or whatever. No disrespect. So it was 10 people in the league, right? 8 people made the playoffs.
That was a high school fantasy football league.
8 people made the playoffs. Wait, it gets better. 8 people made the playoffs. I was the second seed. First seed.
And you had no bye week.
He was the 8th seed. Guess what happened?
He beat you.
He beat me in the first round. Wait, it gets better. Guess what else happened?
He won the whole thing.
He won the freaking championship. He won the championship in his own league with 8 people making the playoffs. And he beat me.
You know what?
And he made me hate him.
I'm going to go with 3 phases of a garbage league. 1, only 10 teams. Don't like that.
Yeah.
2, 8 teams making the playoffs. That's high school shit. And number 1, the name of the league. FB, get money. That's another high school term right there. Grow the fuck up. Grow up your league. And I'm sure that league is done with anyway. So, so Roddy's your number 2. My number 2, I'm going to go with Jason. Strictly, I'm going for the same reasons in a sense that he's also one of the better players in our league. But we turn up the shit talking between me and Jason a whole lot. Even when it comes out of fantasy football, we talk shit all the time and everything. So Jason ain't shit for not playing Overwatch with me over the last couple of years, even though he said he bought the game. So
he is number one blaming the kids while he can't play.
Yeah, he can't play anything. Blaming the kids. You should have pulled out. Number 2 is he was probably my number 1 rival when it came to Madden. Like when we used to face each other a lot in the championships, or or he used to beat me a lot. Most competitive player I played in Madden. So also another fantasy aspect of this. So and last year he beat me in our semi championship to go to the Super Bowl in our fantasy league. So we have history there. And like I said, just the turning up of the shit talking. Jason's my number 2. Yeah. So now you got to go with the number 1 person that you always have that friction with, that you want to crush.
Who do you got? I know who you got.
You already know my number 1, but you can go with your number 1.
Your number 1. All right. Okay. So before I reveal my number 1, I want to say, in no way, Jason, you are a worse player in fantasy than Roddy. I just want to beat Roddy more. That's why he's number 2. You should be number 2. So I would flip flop that. You should be number 2. But number 1 is you, man. It's 100% you.
100% me.
You are number 1.
Why would I be number 1? Why would even though I'll probably be at someone else's number 1?
You are number 1 because you talk the most shit out of everybody in fantasy.
That's a lie. I don't believe that. I don't believe. Maybe I'm number 2 shit talking. Maybe number 3.
Who talks more shit than you?
I'm gonna tell you that's gonna be my number 1. I think he talks.
Okay, all right. I don't think. I think who I think it is. I don't think that's what it is.
But okay.
I don't think they talk more shit than you.
Okay.
But whatever. I'll give you this. Maybe they talk shit to you, but not to everybody else. You're an equal opportunity shit talker to everybody in fantasy. You be like, yo, yes, your team, garbage. And it's like, yo, not even that. Like you said, we used to battle in Madden and literally go through it. And I used to hate you, and then come back the next day and be like, he's cool. But I used to hate you the day walking home. Like, I hate this guy. Beat me in Madden. And I walk back to the house the next day, and I'm like, he's cool, whatever. But then now we doing the fantasy shit, and you talk so much shit, and you beat me, I beat you. You beat me, I beat you. You beat me, I beat you. And I still don't like it. I still want to beat you. Number 1 dude in fantasy I want to beat. I hope you're in the championship this year.
Well, you got to be there if you want to beat me. You got to be there, okay? You got to be there, asshole.
Well, I got a bunch of years because I got some young guys. So I got some years in me, in my fantasy league.
Come on. You just hate me because I always had the pieces and flexibility to always make these trades and just upgrade my team. I just got the pieces and flexibility. I'm just a builder. I know how to build, and I'm building this empire, and it's going to take over this Dynasty League once again. But thank you. I appreciate it. I feel honored to be your number 1, and I'm sure the person I'm going to name as my number 1, I'm also their number 1. And I actually gave him praise here in this podcast, and that's Greg. Greg is my number 1 rival when it comes to fantasy. And it has nothing to do with his ability when it comes to fantasy. Okay? He has this uncanny ability. You know, you say, to me, he talks the most shit, but he has this funny shit talking, but he has this amnesia about how bad he is when it comes to fantasy.
He is, yes.
He's one of those shit talkers. Like, like he beat me last year in a regular season game. He doesn't make the playoff.
You messed up.
But he never makes the playoffs, right? Like, it's like when it comes, also with Madden, he'll talk like, I'm gonna crush you, this and that, see me in the playoffs, and I'm like, Greg, you're never there for me to crush you in the playoffs.
Never.
So it's rare that he makes the playoffs. But he talks shit like he's won championships over championships in our league. He has amnesia. Like he thinks he always.
He's a solid shit talker.
He's a shot for a shitty player. Last year was all about I lost because I had Antonio Brown. He always comes with these excuses and all that. But he's a funny shit talker. You know, he'll put these memes in the chat. He'll say these funny things. He acts like he's a pimp in fantasy football, and and if he is, guess what? He gets no money. He's got no ladies. He's got nothing under him. Okay, but he thinks he's got all these tracks, all these these lanes out here in these streets.
Word.
But I love to crush him. But even if you crush him, that's the thing that bothers me about him. Even though if you crush him and you beat him in the playoffs, or he don't make the playoffs, he ignores it. He doesn't. He just ignores it.
Well, you were supposed to. You were supposed to beat me. You got a bad team.
So that's my top 3 rivals when it comes to fantasy. And this is overall in fantasy also, even though this is probably the most personal league I'm in, because I've known most of you guys for 10 plus years, and we've been doing fantasy as long. And
unfortunately, for too long.
And hopefully this league grows over the years to be that Dynasty. Code Jelly Ninja's historic league. So this is year 1 of our new chapter when it comes to fantasy football. And while we transition over from fantasy football, we're going to use our draft to talk about some topics here before we close out. Like, I want to talk about Kyle Murray. He was the third overall quarterback taken in our league in the 5th round, 2nd pick by your brother, John. And I want to say he was taken number 3, which when in fantasy terms, I got no problem with that, especially in Dynasty. I think he was a top 10 quarterback when it comes to fantasy. Let me double check. Number 8 in his rookie year. That's, wonderful. And he's actually in he's won a quarterback in one of my other Dynasty leagues. So, and I picked him up in the rookie draft. So I really like this. But my question is, do you think he could become a top 3 quarterback in football in real life?
I'm glad you asked, because I was going to trade up to that spot. That's how high I am on Kyler Murray. My brother went to go pick. Before he picked, I called him. I said, "Hey there, brother. What do you think about a trade potentially excelling me to Kyler Murray and deselling you to whoever the hell you want?" And he said, "No, I want Kyler Murray." I said, "Well, that's not cool."
You told him who you wanted?
No, I didn't tell him who I wanted. But I asked him originally, "Who you want?" You messed up my story. Like, these are for the listeners. This story's for the listeners.
Okay.
Not for you.
My bad. I apologize.
I originally called him and I said, "I want to trade. Who you taking in that spot?" He said, "I'm thinking about Kyler Murray." I said, "Okay. I'm thinking about trading with you." He's like, "Who do you think you want?" I said, "It's not important right now. Do you really want Kyler Murray? Because I want to trade with you." He said, "Yes, I really want Kyler Murray." So I gave him an offer. He said, "I don't want that offer." I said, "Well, I wanted Kyler Murray anyway. Fuck you." And then I hung up on him. Because I felt like I think Kyler Murray, not this year, but years to come, he's going to be a problem in the NFL.
So you think he could be a top 3 quarterback in this league?
100%. I really do. I think Kyler Murray could definitely be that.
And you know what? I think it's going to be a very tough road, because we have because I would consider, no order, at the top of my head, maybe the top 5 quarterbacks, right? And maybe Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I mean, I'm talking about for years going forward. Okay, I'm not talking about practical top 5 quarterbacks today. So I'm gonna go out. I'm just throwing out some names: Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, who I think is the best quarterback today. Russell Wilson, yes, even over Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
yeah. I think Russell Wilson's just that dude. And in some ways, I think he's underrated in a lot of aspects. Just the way he carries that offense. But so those are 5 names right there, and I think it's going to be kind of hard to crack that. But I think he has the potential for it. He can become that like a Drew Brees in this league. So, and Drew Brees was a top 5 quarterback for a lot of years. So I think it's possible. And I had no problem with Kyler Murray being the 3rd quarterback taken in our draft.
It's crazy that you asked that, because I literally tried to trade up to get him. I knew that, I knew my brother. I knew that he was going to want to take a quarterback in that spot. And I was hoping it was Russell Wilson. So I asked him, "Who are you taking?" And he said, "Kyler." I said, "Fuck. But I'll trade with you." And he was like, "Nah, I don't want that trade." I said, "Well, fuck you." But I wanted Kyler in that spot, though.
Kyler was my number 3 fantasy quarterback, too. So, I'm really, and Josh Allen was my number 4, and we already spoke about that earlier.
Right.
And Deshaun Watson was probably my 5. Yeah, I think you could flip Deshaun Watson with 4 and 5 for me. So yeah, I like Kyler Murray a lot. I think the future is bright. You just picked up the best wide receiver in football, arguably. Because I think there's arguments you can make out there. And I
Right.
think he's going to be in his second year in this fast-paced offense. It's,
And also,
the Cardinals have a
they throw
future.
the ball a lot.
Oh, they throw the ball a lot. Yeah, of course they throw the ball a
A
lot. So,
lot. Like,
so
this guy averaged like 50, like 40, I think it was like 48, 50 pass attempts a game as a rookie. That's insane, man. That's insane.
yeah. Well,
For a rookie
and I
quarterback.
didn't have that much, but he had 542 attempts as a quarterback, which is a lot. 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and he could run the ball. He had 544 yards running the ball. Kyler Murray, you see why he was the number one overall pick and why he was a high first round pick in baseball too. So
He could throw, man. He could throw.
he's going to be a star in this league, no doubt. So that was one of the questions. Another thing is we spoke about earlier Todd Gurley being drafted the 16th running back in our Dynasty league.
People gonna really regret that, man. I'll tell you that right now.
So my question is, that doesn't apply to real life. He's not the 16th running back in football. You think he could? I don't think he could be that MVP that he was, but I still think he could be a highly productive running back in this league.
100%. I think it's all right. Let me tell you who I think. Not even fantasy. So we're talking not fantasy, regular football.
Well, yeah, we're talking about real life, baby. That's all we're talking about.
All right, real life, not fantasy. No particular order. Zeke, Saquon, McCaffrey, Kamara. I don't know about Gurley, Cook, Henry, and then everybody else.
I think I'll put Josh Jacobs up in there too.
Ah.
I think we're disrespecting Aaron Jones, but he had one fantastic year. But
They don't catch. They haven't shown me enough in the passing game. Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones. They haven't done enough in the passing game.
I know. I hear what you're saying. No, I hear you.
Even though Derrick Henry has not done enough in the passing game, but he was the Russian champion last year and took the Titans single-handedly, and I really feel this way, single-handedly to the AFC Championship.
Don't be disrespecting my boy Ryan Tannehill. All right, don't be doing that.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Nope. Stay away. Let's not do that.
Okay, whatever you say. All right. Anyway, the point is here, I like Todd Gurley. I think he's going to be a highly productive running back, and he's a touchdown machine. I think he has 4 years with 10 touchdowns or more in our league. And last year, he still had over 10. I think let me see how many touchdowns he had. I think he had about 15 touchdowns total. And he's quote unquote, he had 14 touchdowns total last year, and he's 25 years old.
Oh my, he's 25.
But his yards per carry, it hurts you, 3.8. That's not nowhere near his, career average, which hovers around probably like 4.4, 4.5. But
that had to be last year, correct?
Yeah, that was last year that he had 3.8. But hey, they're talking about his injury.
Was so terrible last year, and he was hurt.
I don't think he could be that big play potential that he was in his MVP years. They could just burst and get you a 50-yard touchdown. He was always that threat, but I think he could be a consistent, runner in this league that can be very productive because he could be, a big play guy, a physical guy. He had all the tools to be any type of running back in our league, and he's still a really good wide receiver outside the backfield. So I like Todd Gurley. I don't think this 16th pick reflects what he could still bring to this league. I don't think he's a top 3. He has to prove that he's a top 3, top 5 that he's always been. And I don't think he's that anymore. So I think he is, in some ways, you know what? He could be in that range. I know I'm twisting my words now, but he could be in that range about the 15th real life running back. So I think that does reflect that.
I don't think so, man. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough running backs that do enough, or their team gives them opportunity enough.
Listen,
like the Falcons. The Falcons' offense is dynamic.
No, but I think opportunity helps you out. Like, if you ask me, I'd rather have Devin Singletary.
Yeah, but see, okay, you rather have Devin Singletary, but all right, right now, all right. So we on a topic, right?
I'd rather have Kareem Hunt.
Give me no, hell no.
Yes.
Give me 9 running backs better than Todd Gurley and all in the passing and the running game right now.
It's not about. First of all, you gotta cut down.
Okay,
You gotta cut down his running.
In real life.
I'm not talking about real life, and I'm talking about you gotta cut down his run. He's not the same runner. He's not the same runner. Okay, and when you come and you talk, like I said, I think he could be a high.
How do you know that? How do you know it's not the same
Because
runner?
that's what he did last year.
No, last year
And his knee injury.
Trash.
He is a question mark on his health. And last year, he didn't show his big play ability. He lost his tool of big plays. I'm just saying, I'd rather have a Devin Singletary.
That's why they got rid of him, but I feel like.
Well, it has to do a lot with Cap also.
The team he is on right now.
He's going to be productive.
Falcons.
I think he's going to be productive.
He's going to kill. You think he's going to? What do you think he is on rank amongst productive running backs? He's going to be top 5.
I don't know if he's going to be top 5. I doubt that, but he could be a top 10 fantasy running back. I can believe that because he's going to get the opportunities. That's the thing. We're talking about 2 different things. We're talking about skill set now, and we're talking about opportunity. And I think there's a couple guys out there that surpassed him when it comes to skill set now. Maybe I'm underselling him a lot, but like I said, I'd rather take Kareem Hunt than Todd Gurley when it comes to real life football contributions right now today. Not fantasy. I'm going to pick Todd Gurley, a lot more, but I'd rather have Kareem Hunt. And that's just an example I'm going to give.
Yeah, man, well, you got Kareem Hunt, so I get it. I get why you got to, vouch for your guy.
That's, it is what it is. Don't be mad. But we can ask another name here. Talking about superstars that may have fallen off at a young age. What about Odell Beckham Jr., who was a 4th round 0.6 pick in our draft, which I think was great value, but
that is great value, but I feel like it wasn't necessary to mention. But yes, where did he go last year? A lot of drafts, first round.
Yeah, he must have been in the first round. Yep.
And now he's in the 4th round in our draft.
I'm gonna put it to you like this: in fantasy terms, he was the 25th PPR wide receiver. The year before that, 15. The year before that, because he was hurt, 83. His heyday, he went 7, 5, and 4. 7, 5, and 4 is his rookie with 7, 2015 5th, and 2016 4th. So he was that dynamic player those first 3 years, and then injuries took over. And then last year, they were talking about injury and maybe when it comes to the shit show that is the Browns, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Odell Beckham Jr., would you still consider him the top echelon when it comes to wide receivers? Would you trust in his ability still to be that?
I'll tell you this. I 100% believe in ODB, OBJ. The hood call him ODB. OBJ, I 100% believe in him. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield.
So you put that towards Baker Mayfield when it comes to last year, when it comes to Odell?
Yes, I put it more on Baker than I put it more on OBJ. Like, I'll tell you one thing about OBJ. I've never seen a guy catch a slant and take it 80 yards consistently the way that he does. And I've never seen a guy catch a one-handed pass without his whole hand.
Listen, for those 3 years, I think you could.
Special.
I think you could say Odell Beckham Jr. was the most explosive weapon, wide receiver weapon in the league. Those 3 years that he was with the Giants, that he just went absolute off. And I think he still has that type of ability. I think the number one and is Tyreek Hill. I think he's just insane. I don't think anyone comes close to his.
No, nobody's close to what he could do.
But Odell Beckham Jr., I think this, especially when it comes to fantasy, I think this was a great slot, and I still would take a chance on him in real life too. Now his cap number is a different story. That's a different dynamic that we can add into this. But I want to say I still believe in Odell Beckham Jr., that he can be that top 5, top 10 wide receiver in this league. Right now, I don't think you can say that about him. He had, injuries, circumstance has been, the situation in the last 3 years, and he hasn't been able to do it or shown it on a consistent basis. But I'm still going to say this year he has to show me. He has to show, still keep me as a believer for going into next year.
He has to.
I think this is a critical year for his status as that guy, and I think this is the year. This has to be. If not, I'm gonna start sweeping you a little bit. Not that he's gonna be. He still had a productive year last year. I'm not saying he's a scrub in any shape of the imagine.
It's not Odell Beckham.
It's not the star player that we're used to. Okay. That's what I'm saying here. The first 3 years he had 12, 13, 10 touchdowns. The last 3 years, he has 13 touchdowns combined. Okay, so that's the thing.
It's insane, man. Like how do you go from being a guy that we looked at as like top 3 receivers, not even top 3 receivers, top 3 talented receivers I've ever seen, to playing with the Browns, and now they want to trade you again. I don't see how
he probably wants out too. I don't. It could be that could be him more pushing that. It could be him pushing that more. Like I want out.
It can be, but what does it have to do with that season where the quarterback didn't get him the ball enough? I get that Landry is there, but your offense should have been a lot more high powered. With Nick Chubb almost won the rushing title, and it doesn't open up the passing lanes for you.
Well, I don't think I think it had to do with multitude of things. The coach Freddie Kitchens was way over his head. He was just a terrible head coach in this league.
Trash. He was trash.
So I think that was more so than Baker Mayfield digressing this past year. It's just the Browns. They've had this this tough luck, this shit show of a run. And since they've gotten back into the league, but I just want to say Odell still has a chance. He still has a chance to be there.
Of course, 100%.
And I would definitely take a chance on him.
I'm surprised, man.
And I would have picked him up in this draft too if I didn't have a pick in the 3rd round, because I made my trade. But if I saw him around the 3rd or 4th, I would have definitely. Especially if he came to my 412, I would have picked up Odell Beckham Jr. I would have definitely picked him up.
I didn't take him because I needed 2 running backs.
You already stud wide receivers
and Tyreek Hill, so I had to take some running backs. And on the flip around, I took Carson Wentz. So I definitely would have took ODB if I needed to. If I needed a receiver, if he was there, I would have took him. I was surprised that Cooper was still there right before I picked.
Listen, I would have picked Odell Beckham Jr. over DJ Moore and DK Metcalf with those picks that were taken before him, Odell Beckham. So I'd have definitely went that route too. But to close out the podcast, all right, I got to ask one more question of you. Maybe not, when it comes to fantasy, one more question. And where do you think I fucked up in this draft?
It's a good question, man. I honestly 100% feel like you fucked up by doing that trade with Greg. I think taking Dalvin Cook, who has injury problems. He's injury prone. Also, Kirk Cousins. They're not sure about him. He's older. They got rid of a receiver. they don't even have Kyle Rudolph anymore.
No, I think they still got Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, no. I don't think they do, but
I
maybe.
think Dalvin Cook. I think the biggest question is his health. So,
Right.
and
So let's say, and it's not even just his health. Like, so let's say, for example, right? Let's say you don't take that pick, right? Let's say you took that pick. You still have 30 picks. So instead of 20, you have 30 picks before your next pick. Now you're missing out on some solid second rounders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your next pick was A.J. Brown, right?
Yes. So I went from 1.6 was when after I made that trade. 1.6. My next pick was 412.
Yes. So you took literally 30 picks from that Dalvin Cook pick. It wasn't just from McCaffrey. It was from Dalvin Cook. 30, right? Now let's say you stay at your picks, right? Let's say the board goes the way it goes. You have your option at someone you were so high on, Lamar Jackson, on your pick. Or not. I'm just saying where you fucked up at.
Listen, I agree with you because I called Greg. I was like, you know what? After I agreed to the trade and I made my picks and all that, I was like, I fucked up here. I didn't really think about it as much. I just went with it because I saw the opportunity. I just fell in love with the opportunity to pick up Cook, who I think is this.
Did you know he had 4 picks before you had a third pick?
No, I knew that. I knew that was going to happen. That's not what bothered me. If you look at it like this, I basically trade. If you talk about the players he picked up, I
basically traded Cook
for Lamar
Jackson and Kittle.
Yeah. So that's what the trade ends up being. And you look at that, you're like, damn. My biggest thing is not even the fact that my biggest thing I should have asked, because he also gave me an 8th round pick. I should have asked maybe for a 6th or 5th round pick instead of the 8. I didn't negotiate. I just accepted his offer.
You took it right away because you was about to get somebody you really wanted.
So, that was my... So, in a lot of ways, I feel like I took a loss on this, trade.
I feel like he beat... Like, a lot of people look at it like one of my boy hit me up. He was like, yo, what do you think about that trade? But I know how he was saying it. He just texted me. He was like, what do you think about that trade? I was like, but in my head, I'm like, I know what you're saying. Do you think that shit was even close? And he was saying it like, yo, he's getting Dalvin Cook and McCaffrey. And I just wanted to like let him know, like, he took Dalvin Cook. That's cool, like 2 top 5 fantasy running backs. But now he doesn't pick for another.
So he thought I was getting the better end of the deal?
He thought that. But after I explained it to the way that I looked at it, he was like, nah, you're right. Because your first receiver was A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And look at all the receivers you missed on. Even one of the guys we just talked about. Even one of the guys he was high on. Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of...
Odell.
When it comes to wide receivers, believe me, there's a lot of wide receivers that, when it comes... I would say when it comes to my team, I don't have a true number 1 wide receiver. A.J. Brown could grow into that. He's not there yet.
Right.
He's not there yet. I don't have a stud, set in stone wide receiver. I don't.
So you want to think about it like this? Greg got 4.
Greg
got 4 of the top, 3 of the top 36 players, and you got 2.
No. I know what Greg actually picked a great value when he picked up Aaron Jones, who was the number 1, running back last year in fantasy football because he had 16 touchdowns. I don't think he'll get that again, but he'll have that opportunity to get that again.
Just on a bird's eye view, yeah. It just looks.
Listen, like I said earlier, I prefer to be lower in the draft when it comes to Snake, and I think Greg made out very nicely in our trade. But my saving grace is I probably have one of the strongest. I'll probably have the running back core.
The strongest running back core in the league.
Yeah, I probably have, I have running back core, and running back is the most valued position, in fantasy. Maybe not in a full point PPR league, but when I have two dynamic guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and it really turns up that pressure on everybody else in a sense when it comes to the running back position. And I think Dalvin Cook, obviously McCaffrey would get me a haul back. So if someone wanted a running back and they come to me, I'm gonna be asking for a king's ransom, basically.
Right, yeah, because you could potentially flip that for like 2 players or
something like that. But listen, yeah. I'm with you in the sense that I get why you said I fucked up there, because I questioned myself. So I'm not going.
Let me tell you the big fuck up though. Let me tell you that's it. But let me tell you why though. Cook, first season played 4 games. Second season 11 games. Third season 14.
Oh, I know his health. I know it's his health issues.
And you did a great job by handcuffing Madison. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You did a great job by handcuffing Madison. But Madison is kind of like the same Darrell Henderson shit that we just shitted on Rodrigo about. Like, he's not proven.
Well,
he hasn't done any.
Well, I took him. What did I take him? I took him with.
No. I know. But what I'm saying is, if you're gonna trade up to take somebody, you shouldn't have to handcuff that person.
Well, listen.
You know
even if I didn't get Cook, I was gonna pick up Alexander Madison anyway, because I believe in his talent, and also, because of Cook's history. It's just he could be potentially, I'm not going to say number one. I think McCaffrey probably, if healthy, and if you keep the same Panthers somewhat of offense, he's the number one. The only thing that overtakes him is it's the touchdowns, and everything. As a matter of fact, it wasn't Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones was number 2. I'm sorry. I think McCaffrey was number 1 when it comes to that, with a fantasy running back. So I think Cook could be a top 3 guy easy. He was a number 6 last year in PPR. I think he could be a top 3 talent. So, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. I could have definitely had the other players that I really desired, and 2 of them instead of Cook. But fuck it. I got the strongest running team in the league, so go fuck yourself. How about that one? All right? And I'm not going to kill you too much. I think you're
kill me.
I think you had 2. I think you had 2 minor fuck ups.
Bad picks.
I think you're not bad picks. Because these guys are young. I just think the value of the picks. When your 7th pick, Christian Kirk, I think you could have went. You picked him with your 7.11th pick.
Yes, I did.
After him went Fuller. You went. You had Devontae. Oh wait, no, you picked. You had Devontae.
Snake.
Yeah, it was a snake. And then it went to you had Fuller. You had Devontae Parker. I think those 2 guys you could have. There was other wide receiver talent, and if you wanted someone young, you could have waited. You could have got Darius Slayton, who I'm very high on. I almost picked him up. I just think there was other guys you could have picked up at that point. So that one bothers me just a little bit. And maybe when it comes to, you didn't have a tight end either. You could have picked up, you could have easily picked up O.J. Howard. You could have picked Hunter Henry. You could have picked up, Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia.
Goddard.
Yeah. So you could have picked up a few other players. And then this must be your sleeper right here. And you should have definitely waited till your last pick to get your sleeper. This, your 12.2 Campbell.
Oh, yeah, Paris Campbell, yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to take him in the 12th round. I think that was a reach right there. But that's later in the rounds, and that must be your, the guy they're probably going to hit on the taxi squad. But you could have picked up some value there. You could have picked up, Shit, you could have picked up a few people. You could have went with quarterback. You could have went with Big Ben, Baker Mayfield, golf. You could have went with Coleman, running back. You could have went a kicker. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't go any of those. I didn't go. As you can see, I didn't take a quarterback. Period. A second quarterback. Period. But I didn't take Coleman because I don't know what running back in San Francisco is going to be good. Who the hell knows? I'm more high on Breida, but
No, I hear you.
what it is.
Listen, like I said, this is just minor picks that I'm getting at your team right here. Maybe I could have went, even at 9-11, but Neil Harry, he hadn't improved anything last year, but I still would have taken him. He was a first-round pick with the Patriots last year. But the thing is, with the quarterback situation, that makes that pick a little shaky. You could have picked up maybe my guy, Mikel Harmon. You could have picked up Julian Edelman.
Slayton.
You could have picked Marvin Jones. You could have Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. I think you could have picked a few more proven guys. Then you just went strictly for potential there. So that's the only things I'm going to get at you for. But overall, you got a solid team here. I like your wide receiver. I love Tyreek Hill. I don't know about Chris Godwin. Obviously he had a productive year last year. Is Tom Brady? You got to hope that Tom Brady is still got a gun, right? He's got a solid arm. He's got the arm strength to get it.
Well, I'm praying on not on my hands and knees, but I'm just like regular, like walking through the house, like I pray that Brady just gonna throw some screens and my man gonna still kill it. That's what. And then I could have taken. I was between him and Mike Evans. I wasn't thinking about Julio at all.
I like Mike Evans over Chris Godwin, but that's just me personally. You could have went with Julio Jones. You could have went a different route here and there. You could have went with a running back. You could have went with Josh Jacobs. But that's just nitpicking. The guy had 1,300 yards last year. It's just you got to. I'm just worried about Tom Brady being the same guy, right? Being 80% that he was with the Patriots, and he still has that productive year. But Tyreek Hill, I love that pick and all that. I think you did well. I think you did well.
I had to take him at that. I had to take him in that second round.
I just think you take a hard.
I was going to take Jacobs. I'm not for real on that second pick.
Yeah, Jacobs.
I was going to take Jacobs.
I just think after Godwin and Tyreek Hill, I think you take a hit at wide receiver. I think it's a large gap out of those two.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because your number 3 receiver right now is Christian Kirk, right? That's your number 3.
Would you? Because Terry.
I forgot you had Terry. Okay, I'm looking at I forgot you made that trade. You do have Terry. Terry, the only thing that bothers me, because I have Terry, he's in my other Dynasty league, is the quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the only thing that bothers me about that. Listen, he was on my queue also because I'm high on him. I think he's the number 1 receiver in Redskins. So, he could be your number 3 if he does develop that chemistry with Haskins. So I think you're all right. Either or, I think you did a solid draft, and I look forward to busting your ass.
I think I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna give you some credit, I guess, after I shitted on you. I think your pick of Brandon Cooks was fucking solid.
Well, yeah, I saw the value there. I was actually going to go with him or Slayton. I was like, damn, I really like Slayton. I think Slayton is going to really grow with Jones, so I think he's going to have a very nice year. But I was like, let me go with a guy that could be still be a number 1 wide receiver on this team. I'm going to go with Cooks here, that I know has been more of a foundation of his teams. He's been everywhere, and a lot of his years, he's had 1,000-yard years. Cooks, it's just last year he had a down year, and but what helps me is they traded Hopkins, so that helps me out.
100%, for real, and I'll give you that, and also you unfortunately had to take you. Darius Slayton was taken right before Mike Williams, but Mike Williams is a solid pick.
Yeah, those are. once again, you know what I'm really hoping for when it comes to Mike Williams and the Chargers. I picked up Jameis Winston, who's not on a team right now. I hope the Chargers wake up and say, let's get Jameis Winston in here and let's make him our starter. So if
maybe
Mike Williams gets Jameis Winston, this is just me and my, prediction here.
Over Darius Slayton, he was hyped with Darius Slayton.
No, I know. Darius Slayton was
number 2 in the ninth. You took him first, and Mike Williams first.
Oh yes, I did. Yes, I did. I went with the potential. The man had 10 touchdowns before, and stuff like that. So I went with that potential there. So it's the only thing. Yeah, it was just some things. Like there's some things I'm hoping for. I picked up Kareem Hunt. Like after my 3 running backs, if I'll still be all right because I have 3 running backs, solid running backs. I got Carson, Cook, and McCaffrey. Wide receiver, like I said, I'm missing that stud guy. I think I'm all right with A.J. Brown and Jarvis Landry, but after that, if one of those guys get hurt, well, I got Cooks. So, I think injuries could mess me up, but I can mess up any team. So that's just, beating a dead horse here. I think I got a nice mix and all that. Do I still think I need to make a trade? Definitely, but I got the pieces and flexibility to do it, baby. That's all it's about. But, Mike, it's been running for an hour and 40 minutes now. And before we close out, I want to let everybody know that your night job is a co-host of All Time High. We did a little bit of that, our top 3s. And you guys talk about top 5s. That's the premise of your show. And I look forward to it. I really enjoyed episode 1. Hopefully, Roddy comes more prepared when it comes to episode 2. And
hopefully.
But your day job, you work for the FDNY. You're a firefighter. You're out here battling the coronavirus. And here in New York City, it's just the epicenter of the United States when it comes to this pandemic here. And, I love you, bro. You stay safe. And, I want you, hopefully you can give us some light on the shit that you have to deal with and what you see out here. You don't have to, you don't have to go too much details about it if it's affecting your job or anything, but
right.
What advice would you give us and tell us what you're dealing with out there?
So as a firefighter, we are certified first responders, right? So we show up to the scene before an ambulance does. For EMTs and paramedics, we are there first. If it is deemed necessary that they are in that critical condition, right? So in my area, in Harlem, New York, it happens often. So in my firehouse, we show up to a lot of calls daily for that. And what I see mostly that people are not doing, they're not protecting themselves when it comes to this COVID, when it comes to Corona. Just make sure that you're distancing yourself. Make sure that when you come into the house, Lysol yourself. If you have Lysol, if not, get some Lysol. Wear gloves when you go outside. Don't cross-contaminate. Don't grab a doorknob with your glove and then grab your phone with your glove. Like, that defeats the purpose. Please don't do that. Also, please be safe. Like, if you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. It's not necessary. Not this time. Not around this thing. Trust me. Corona is real. Believe that.
Well,
and it's hitting a lot of people.
Well, we know a few that has hit close to home, and we're still out here dealing with this in New York. And I got to thank you, bro. Stay safe. You need anything, call me, but I'll stay 6 feet away from you. But I got your back and all that. And hopefully you'll be down again in the future to do some more podcasting here on Idiot Ezra and in-house too, when some of this pandemic is over and everything. And
For sure.
You guys check out All Time High on Spotify and Apple. This has been Idiot Ezra, Mike Tap, and I'm going to bust his ass in fantasy football, and we're out of here.